I'm here opening up Masters of the Universe Origins figures. Gonna open up Faker, the evil robot of Skeletor, of He-Man. Evil robot of He-Man. Made by Skeletor? Confusing name. And then I only collect characters that appeared on the original cartoon. We'll talk about why this still kind of qualifies for my collection. And then we'll talk about the figure and just kind of check it out and talk about Faker, the character. So let's get him opened up. Unhooked in the box there. So you have Faker here, a prime example of reusing the parts to release a new character. Clearly the He-Man body just recolored, and then the Skeletor chest piece that we can see here. That was what they were very good at in the 80s, releasing the original Master Universe figures, is just reusing parts, body parts, weapons, and things like that just to reduce their cost. So the idea was he was a robot designed to look like He-Man. Obviously something didn't go right here in his normal form here. He doesn't look like He-Man at all, or else you just buy another He-Man figure. Take the chest piece off, can reveal his robotiness, which is a little retro, reel-to-reel. Not exactly a modern machinery there, seems like. But in the 80s, that's what a computer looked like, so he's running off 80s tech. Another important thing to note is that just like the original figure, the head is just a recolored original He-Man head. It's the original design instead of the newer Origins line head like you can see here on the Prince Adam, just like the He-Man originally released with. It's a redesign of his head, his hair, different face. Here I have the head swap from the Battle Armor He-Man, where it is that original head, so you can see where they are the same this way. So very interesting that they would release Faker with the old school head, making him look different than the original release Masters of the Universe Origins He-Man that had a redesigned face. Odd choice. But now that I have that original head for my He-Man Origins figure, I like that this matches it now with the Faker. But pretty strange there's no redesign head for Faker. I'd be a little confused as a kid if I was buying these, playing with them. The fake He-Man had a different face than my other He-Man. It's like, what does he look so different if he's supposed to be like the doppelganger, you know? You know, every superhero has like the copy of them that's just like them, but the evil version. Sometimes it's their main villain, sometimes it's just one of their random villains, or they're just always the copy. Apparently it's a pretty popular figure at the time. I think maybe just the insane color combination. The crazy hair, the orange chest plate, the Skeletor theme colors underneath. He comes with a He-Man style sword, but it is a complete, there's no half, because the Faker sword wouldn't complete anything with the power sword anyway. I'm not sure if the original release, I'll have to show it here, if it was a half piece or a whole piece. I would think it would be a half of some sort as well, but I guess I don't know because I never got to own any of the original ones. That's why I'm collecting these all now. Of course, since this is Skeletor's chest piece, there's no holster for the weapon, so you just could kind of have to tuck it into his thing if you want to holster it. Otherwise, he does just have the one holding hand. I think this is a little bit less thick handle than some of the other complete swords, so it's not going to stretch his hand a whole lot, thankfully. He has this Faker sword that matches his armor piece. So I'm collecting these because I never got to have the original figures. I was kind of born too late, not in stores anymore. But I am kind of basing the collection also on the cartoon that I did get to see at the time. It was just all reruns. So I'm only buying characters that actually appeared in that original cartoon. So you might say Faker was never really in that original cartoon, but there is episodes where there's kind of a copy He-Man. There's an evil He-Man that He-Man does say, "You're a Faker," like that. It's just Skeletor made kind of this evil copy. But it just looks like He-Man, the same coloring. He just kind of has like glowing eyes or something. And he gets thrown down a hole and he's gone. But not a machine, just kind of a magic creation, I believe. And then in a later episode, Man-at-Arms makes a robot He-Man that he can use as like kind of a distraction or decoy of some kind, you know. Can say, hey, look, there's He-Man. Meanwhile, Prince Adam can exist somewhere and kind of hold up the illusion that they're two different people that way. So there's kind of some precedence for Faker in the cartoon, just not exactly this coloring, so it was a little loose of a choice for me, but I went for it just because they do say Faker, he just doesn't appear with his evil coloring like the figure. So again, big time money saving thing for Mattel just to be able to re-release since they already have these parts, even though they had to make the original head, but that is a special feature of like the deluxe figures, and there's another He-Man figure being re-released with the original style head. So all these parts they definitely already had, so he's pretty much just a recolor other than his robotic chest print on his chest there. The only addition, really. And he didn't even get his axe and shield in a faker form or anything like that. Just the orange sword. Just kind of representing the genius of, 80s toy design of trying to save the money. Just like the G.I. Joe story, where they had that ninja kind of design. They released the unpainted all black one as Snake Eyes. It's the cheapest one they can produce. There's no paint at all. They can kind of save the budget for the rest of the thing. Rest of the toys, #1 seller was Snake Eyes in the just plain black. If you don't like lazy, I wouldn't recommend Fakor because that's essentially what he's representing, but it is kind of interesting, just the history of the toy line as well as just the story of Masters of the Universe stuff in various ways. You see Faker more in other Masters of the Universe stories and definitely in the comic stuff as well. So I'm still adding him to my collection even though he's very loosely used on the cartoon. So I open up all my Masters of the Universe Origins figures here. Get subscribed so we can see what else we get. All those future releases. And all my other collectibles as well. New and old. This is a little bit of both. Of an old toy line, but all new figures in the stores now, if you can find. I tell you, I'm He-Man! Yes, I look slightly different. I mean, not that different, really. I mean, well, maybe a lot different.